everyone. Welcome to the Vegan Stew. It feels like it's been forever. It might have been forever because it's November and we kind of skipped last week. Sorry. We were all tired and exhausted from various things. One of them being the election, which we could totally touch on tonight because, it's like the elephant in the room. But let's first say thank you to our sponsor for November, since our first show in November, finally, and that is Fake Meats. So you can go to fakemeats.com. And if you come to any of our festivals, we have a nifty little card with a discount code in it, and like all our bags, you can get it at one of our booths. And speaking of, we only have 2 festivals left, so you have to come to Knoxville or Georgia to get that. But check out fakemeats.com to purchase all your fake meats. That'd be amazing. And of course, if you'd like to win prizes, we have 9 in November, 9 prizes to give to you. So go to Wishbond, go to our Wishbond, which is at virtualvegfestlive.com. Click the little contest tab and enter to win prize packs from Terrace Seed, Hodo Foods, Veg Key, Rebel Cheese, Cinnaholic, Fabulous, Bernie Wild's Adventure Sauce, Kathy Hester's giving away a cooking class that's new, and Trupo Treats. Yes, the chocolate company, Trupo Treats, the Trupo brothers, pretty awesome. They are now sponsoring us too. How amazing is that? Well, let's see. Let's start this. We're topic of course, like subscribe to the Vegan Stew and Virtual Veg Fest on YouTube. Please hit the notification button so you know when we go live. Help us grow that channel. That'd be amazing. And as always, if you have any questions or comments or you want to be part of the show by just kind of chatting with us, we love it. We absolutely love it. So the more interactive, the better. Completely pull us in all different directions. We're fans. So the stew crew tonight is Marla Rose from Vegan Street.
Hello.
Nouse.
Nouse is in there.
I guess Morella Morning and Voth. And we got Kelly from Climate Healers and the Vegan Abler. Stew crew, welcome. Nice to see you. It's been a hot minute since we've done this, and maybe we'll do it twice a month because our lives are so busy and life is so exhausting. But either way, shall we talk about a little bit of the election? A little bit. I mean, we still have it going on in Georgia, so that's probably going to end up being the same as last time, so that's a good thing. And a lot of the people that would probably destroy the planet and don't believe in climate change didn't get elected. That's a good thing.
Glass half full.
Well, well, it could have been a lot worse, and we could not be in a democracy anymore. I mean, there are things that are definitely positive.
I guess it's just so sad. It's like a flaming bag of poop that's been set on fire didn't get reelected. Woo!
It's a dumpster fire.
It's dumpster fire.
It is a literal meme. It is a dumpster fire. And for Georgia, women let Stacey down. I am to the point where I'm not going to kumbaya with people very much anymore. Don't come and call for Black women to come and save. We're tired.
Right.
We're tired. You put on a good show on social media, said all these things, and we have to be together because we're women. And, even though being queer, I still have a uterus. So yeah, I'm able to give birth. Of course this impacts. And even if I wasn't, I have a sister, I have my mother, women are impacted. And you go in there and 72% of you vote in the red.
Ugh.
So
now it's just talking about white women, just so everyone is clear. So
you guys are exceptions. There's exceptions.
We're also not in Georgia.
No, y'all are fine. And for it even to be a runoff for Warnock and Herschel Walker.
You don't even bother saying his name.
Yeah. November 28th is the early voting for the for this one, and it's actually in-person voting on the 6th. I will be definitely doing the early voting. I am not good. No, I won't be in this state anymore come December. But but no,
Yeah.
even yet and still. Oh, I'll be in Cali.
Nice.
I'm moving to Cali.
Moving to California. What part?
Yes. I'm looking at Anaheim or Long Beach.
Are you going to go
Congratulations.
south? Have you ever thought about north?
Um, no, I mean I'm familiar with some areas. Like I have family that used to live in those, so like Rancho Palos Verdes. I'm familiar with LA. I'm familiar with. Um, I'm trying to find. I was gonna do what do you call it? San Francisco was definitely in consideration, especially because of the really, really beautiful Montessori school they have there. And then I was looking at the fact of how like separated it is and like from things. I'm like, I don't know if that's gonna work. But
Yeah.
I'm definitely open to finding out like other areas. I only know like those certain areas, but I have
Mhm.
several friends that were, would say Culver City is really nice, Palmdale, especially like if you have kids. Yeah. Oakland I looked in, but I couldn't really find, any good pockets there or areas
This
there.
big. This big. I lived in
Yeah.
California for 7 years. I'm happy to discuss with you. I lived in Northern
Yeah.
California in the Bay and in Sacramento.
Okay.
Sacramento might be perfect.
Okay.
I've heard a
You
lot of good things about it lately in terms of affordability compared to other areas in California. I mean, it's not like, you can buy a, 2,000 square foot house for a small amount, but quality of life and all of
Yeah.
those things kind of combined. It sounds like a very tree friendly, like just lots of trees.
Northern California, Sacramento
No,
is a
Sacramento specifically.
yeah. Sacramento is there's Citrus Heights, a city of trees.
Mhm.
It is more affordable. You would eventually be able to afford a house, and it's still expensive. It's still
Right.
California,
Yeah.
but you see the Sierra Mountains.
Mhm.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Like you're in a valley, so it's hot in the summer, but it's dry. The weather is pretty darn decent, but you drive on 80 and you see the mountains, and it's gorgeous. And I miss that. That's
Yeah.
something I do
So
miss about being there and going to Reno and Lake Tahoe. So, and going to the Bay and going to Santa Cruz, go to San Francisco and San Jose, and yes, if you're going to go to California, I would say come to North Carolina before California, but personal opinion.
My
But
spouse just wants to get the hell out of these areas that are red, right?
I
And
have
I
to,
don't blame
yeah, and then I do have like several, you know, it was a really conscious decision to decide like where to go, especially given the fact that, VAFest will be there. Where is it? Where is a huge diverse? There's a huge alt community there. It would be. I do have a lot of friends that are there that are in, film and arts and things like that. So it's a good way for me to, be where I need to be specifically for what I do. And then finding, um, a really diverse area. They have really, really great services for children
yeah, oh
who are
yeah,
special needs. So
you will find a whole different world of caring.
yes,
You would definitely
I'm
find a
looking
whole different
forward
world
to
of
it.
caring.
I'm so happy
Well,
for you now.
yeah.
Thank you.
Kelly, tell us
Thanks.
about the climate. Let's talk about the show stuff.
Yeah.
You can tell we haven't seen each other. So
So my computer's freezing with all my notes, so I'll just have to talk about what I remember. But I was going to talk about COP27, which is going on in Egypt right now. And for the first time, they have a food pavilion, and they dedicated an actual day. Wow, out of 2 weeks, we get a day for food. So there's a day dedicated to talking specifically about food, and as usual, it's just all a bunch of greenwashing that's going on. But plant-based treaty is there, and they're giving out plant-based food, and they actually spoke as well, which is good. And there's actually a few other vegan organizations there. But yeah, as usual. So the Food System Pavilion is being run by, it's called Climb, Eat, and I Farm. I think we're the two co-hosts. talking about strategies, actions, blah, 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 but one of the things I thought was really interesting was one of the statistics they said was it will cost us $1.3 trillion a year, every year until 2050 to fix our food system that it's resilient for the climate and to ensure that it continues to thrive. And although that sounds like a lot, what the others are failing to see is how much more it's going to cost if we don't do that. On top of the fact that we just won't even make it to 2050, so we have to do this now, and so they're recognizing that they need to start putting money into this, but I think it's something like it's a tiny amount. It's under it's in a single digit how much money currently from governments are going into the food component of climate. And that's not even necessarily even going to plant-based alternatives. That's improving agriculture, again, all this greenwashing, and that's a lot of what the conversations that have unfortunately been going on. How do you improve agriculture and optimize it and this and that. So they so yes, they are seeing a necessity to some degree in changing our diets. They're not saying they're still trying to think that there's some way that we can do animal agriculture more efficiently. And we just have to strike that. It's just not possible. But a lot of the things they're talking about from a plant-based sort of agriculture is vertical farming, which, hey, is great. But I'm sure a lot of you who's on social media probably saw today, there was I think I can't remember who posted it, but China is doing vertical animal agriculture, quote unquote, farming, and they're building buildings,
high rises,
over over 500,000 pigs, so that's the last thing that obviously we want to see them thinking that that's some way of doing agriculture better, Yeah.
Keep trying to find new ways to do the wrong thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Marla, is there an article or anything?
About
have to be.
No, I just thought Kelly was going to be introducing that, and so that's what I've got. Sorry,
no, that's fine. I like this bridge opening. So let's see. Our topic this week is a teaser. So figs, ? Avocados, ? Honey, ? And whatever else I might have put in that in my teaser. Why did I choose figs and avocados and maybe something else? Honey is a different topic, but almonds could be in there too, right? Yeah, all these foods that somehow in our vegan world somebody has put onto social media, they're not vegan. The why will surprise some of you. It has to do with pollination. I'm very confused by this because it's insane. And I'm going to say they're out of their minds because yes, the bees are pollinating. That's what they're here to do.
Right.
And if the bees stopped pollinating, we would have no food.
Yeah.
We would go bye-bye. Exactly. We wouldn't exist. That's why it's very bad that there are bees that are going extinct.
Yeah.
And that we have to do better with chemicals. Now we treat our food is because we don't want the bugs to be on them. The problem is we're killing the bugs, the insects that we need to survive on this planet. Because yes, there are bugs and insects we need to survive. And one of them is bees. Because they do something called pollination. And pollination is what helps food to grow. So suddenly pollinating figs or pollinating avocados becomes not vegan. So avocados and figs aren't vegan. And it's like, I think with figs too, it might be that bugs get into figs. Yeah. And then, I just can't. It's nature. I can't with friends of people arguing over this.
Right.
And it's just basic, like it's like basic life 101.
Mm.
Pollination. Pollination is vegan because
Yeah.
you wouldn't have or no food that we eat is vegan. And
Right.
we just have to decide what you like that you
I think,
eat, and you're just breaking your vegan rules every day.
right.
Go ahead.
I think a lot of it stems from the gotcha culture of trying
Mhm.
to find how vegans are just a bunch of hypocrites, and honestly, this is why I did not spend a lot of time researching this for today, because I just feel it's disingenuous. Like there are crops that are more water intensive, and I do believe, like obviously, you know,
Almonds.
what you call it is a avocado, not avocado. Almonds are a big example of that, but actually compared to most animal ag, it's pretty low on the water usage uh, thing. But again, I think we can make choices to be to shrink our carbon footprints and to be as mindful with our consumption as possible. But I also think that these roads all lead to us being overwhelmed, to feeling like we're liars, to feeling like nothing is ever good enough. And I just feel like it's a recipe for nihilism and indifference, and so I don't give it any thought.
Except for what you just said. Kelly, go for it.
It's the same argument that we hear from non-vegans about how we kill mice in the production of our food, therefore we're no better than them. I mean,
You're not so great,
right? They're just trying to find a flaw in the vegan morals so they don't have to question their own morals.
Absolutely. Oh, you're silent now.
I think that was the end.
Oh, okay.
Kelly's on a delay from Canada.
Oh, yeah.
Let's see. So hey, Ray, before now you go, Ray said about climate for snow in Toronto yesterday. And then Gachapald is the weakest politics, and hypocrisy hunting is the weakest discourse against vegan activists forced to live in this complex world. Again, Ray has always got the best things to say. So Kelly, you're so lucky. You get to live with him. I can't imagine your conversations. That's so cool. Now let's go for it.
All this reminds me of is there's like a TikTok going around where you have all these people that are like they go and they say, all these vegan foods, they're good, but don't eat them, or look what's in it. I'm like, I'm going to enjoy whatever the hell is in there because we have options. So y'all need to just go and sit down. If you want to go ahead and not eat it, don't eat it. This milk is not killing me. This is not hurting me. Plant-based milk, animal milk will. It's not ours, but I am fine. And it's just like, can we live? Can we live? Pollination and the acts that animals do to help with the process of food growth, that is what they're naturally doing. That is what they do. Because they pollinate fruits, vegetables, plants, flowers, does not mean that you're not vegan. If that's the case and you want to go ahead and be an elitist, it's like the same thing in like the goth community. All these goth elitists saying you can't listen to this and you can't be this type and you can't be this subgenre and all this other stuff. Is it killing you that much? Who hurt you? Leave us alone. Eat the food. Stop it. It does not mean that you are no longer vegan or it's mind-boggling. There are other things that are going on in the world today that are crucial. If you want to talk about what the bad thing is or whether or not you're eating something, you're eating this, it's no longer vegan because a bee pollinated it, let's talk about water. Let's talk about the immigrants that are out there with climate change that are doing and getting nothing. Okay? Let's talk about that. Seriously. Let's talk about that. Those are crucial.
Now it's just riled up.
Oh my God. Don't say Stacey Abrams. You're not gonna I was going to say that this is a very common and predictable right-wing strategy to overwhelm, to make people feel like they're hypocrites, to just basically get people to stop caring, to get people to stop doing the bare minimum. And so those of us who are activists in all other realms recognize it. We know it when we see it. This is a deflection. It is an attempt to, like the thing is that they honestly are so removed from the cruelty of animal ag, despite our efforts to educate and to grow more compassion worldwide, that they think that us trying to advocate for plant-based diets is us meddling in their business. So they do that to us with the milk, with the seed oils, with this, with that, thinking that these are basically the same thing because they are so disconnected from, we are advocating for others. They just think we're being nannies. So that's how out of it, that you just can't really have a rational conversation because you're just not, there's a level of honesty that's just not, in an understanding that the benchmark is nowhere near being met for a genuine conversation. So I just, I don't get dragged into those because I just find them to be so false,
They're typically in groups. They're typically in the vegan groups is where they come up, and they kind of just come through your feed and you see it, or a friend comments on it, or a friend is arguing on it because it's the thing is, it's in vegan groups, so it's not like there's somebody who's not vegan in there saying this.
No, but there are a lot who do that.
Oh, there are. I know, but I mean, enough. They're not. Well, there's definitely wackos in the vegan world, and they come out with some doozies.
Yeah.
That make you scratch your head and go, "Who are you?"
Right.
And do you live in the same world that we live in? But then again, they think we're out of our minds. So all's fair.
Kelly.
Hi.
Yeah, I was going to say the purity amongst the vegan groups is really disappoints me and upsets me, because when we're trying to invite people in, especially because community is important when you first go vegan, right? Or just to maintain being vegan, right? So when we're inviting them into these groups and then we have like all this, like, who would want to consider going vegan? Right? When it's just like, what? I can't do this, what, that, yeah.
Right.
I agree with what Nam said. It's like, you don't want to eat that because of whatever, do it. Go ahead.
Right. But, it's not an ethical basis, and that's what needs to be.
It's ego.
We can't let them redirect it. That this suddenly. And the other thing is, to Helene's point about there being people in groups who get into all of these weird little, cliques of this or that. A lot of times when you scratch the surface, that person who's promoting that is a trainer or a quote unquote nutritionist or a health guru or whatever, who's trying to collect people. So you can't take things on the surface. You know what I mean? Like, because a lot of times it is these people who have ulterior motives. And a lot of times in these vegan groups, there are really newbie people who are just so like, you remember what you were like? You were like a little baby toddler walking around in your like diapers. And then these guys come in with like, you're not vegan, that's not vegan, that's not vegan. It's just a very vulnerable time. And a lot of times these groups have thousands and thousands of people, or smaller communities have hundreds. It's very overwhelming. So yeah, I don't have a lot of patience for that. Because it's not an ethical.
No. It comes down to back to just like Kelly, when you said, we do ourselves a disservice by being aggressive in areas where there's no need to,
Right.
by attacking baby vegans who are coming in. These groups that, or say that such and such, Dr. such and such is like the know-all of everything, and how dare you not do it this way. If I hear one more thing about alkaline this and alkaline that, I'm going to alkaline my foot up somebody. It's like, are you doing it because you're like, it's almost like it becomes a personality.
Mm-hmm.
Being vegan is not my personality. Being vegan is something that I'm proud to be. Okay.
Right.
And I utilize that to, not only introduce people to certain things, different ways, maybe, cool things that they can do that they didn't know, but I'm not wearing it as like, you can't scan me, or like if I'm in the airport and they do a body scan and the V is going to start popping up and vegan's just going to be, spelt up my body. You people are completely missing the point. You're scaring people off. You're using it as a badge in the wrong way.
Right. A cudgel.
All I can think of now is, since we're talking about this, is vegan police in Scott Pilgrim versus the World. That's all I can think about, or the super level vegan, which was fantastic. But that's exactly what it is kind of reminding me of, and I really think that it is hypocrisy. It is a lot of people, especially I find it more on TikTok now, where you have a lot of these videos that people do and they're like, this is dangerous. Don't eat this if you're going vegan. And some vegan believe that type of thing. And I'm just like, and people are commenting and I'm like, no. And sometimes it's just like, it's a headache to comment, because the people, it's
a clusterfuck. It becomes like
there
a
we go.
big mess, Yeah. And I do think a lot of times it is people just trying to get attention for their brand or to get more followers. Like the controversial, it's the algorithm, it's like the controversial shit is what gets seen and what gets commented on and what raises your profile. And it's just part of the whole nastiness of social media, nuanced conversations, people coming in with good intentions and presenting things in a complex way. It's just there's not a lot of but yeah, like it seems like what I'm noticing is you guys have all been vegan for a while and probably observing these different spheres and fads. Like it seems like every so often a new fad arises in terms of like new food that you absolutely cannot pass go. Okay, do not eat if it's a seed oil. Seed oil seems to be like the big obsession right now, is like anti-seed oil. And I just took a quick look at our local vegan community page, and it's just like somebody just has to say, does anybody know of a commercial vegan? Hey John, I'm on the phone.
Hey John.
Was wandering. He's really deaf right now. But he's got a double ear infection, so he cannot, he's just like, but anyway, it's almost like the person asked that just to start conflict about the ingredients in other vegan butters. I just like, I don't know, if I'm trying to find a vegan butter without certain ingredients, I guess, then I look it up. I don't know. What's it? Like, you don't start like this big in a group with 15,000 people. It's just a recipe for, I want attention. I want to draw attention to this. It's annoying. But yeah, it does seem like there's new things that are like popping up every so often that people obsess over.
Every single time talking about butter, okay? Every single time that someone complains about something being in something, right? Or they want to attack, because they'll say something and then you can come back at them and say, well, yeah, but if you look at this brand, here's the difference between like Miyoko's and Earth's Balance, right? I have a preference. I used to like Earth Balance was the first one that I discovered and I lived for. But Miyoko's and Kite Hill are my favorite ones because Miyoko's makes an oat milk one and I love that one very, very much. But what will they attack you on? But this and this and this is this. I'm like, okay, so what's your recipe?
Yeah.
Palm.
Exactly.
What is your what is it?
And then there's got
It's about palm oil.
Yeah. Well, she's
Mhm.
palm oil free. All of her products
Right.
are
But Earth
Yeah.
Balance is not. All the
right,
the,
right,
the
right,
tip-
right. But
all
like,
the general
yeah,
like the brands that you are aware of
right.
in the store
Yes.
have palm oil in
But
them.
But now
but that's
tonight
the
I
other
am of the era of Spectrum. So
yes.
everything happens.
And that's the other thing too. And when you research, that was a big thing too. That why I stopped using Earth Balance. I did my research with Kite Hill, which I absolutely love them. Miyoko's and Kite Hill. Those are the two that I use. But you always hear people want to rant off and like, well, this and even when you say, okay, here's an alternative. I understand what you're saying. Here's the difference. Still, there's a problem. Give me your recipe. Where's your video? Show us how to make it.
There's somebody who's going to
It's
pop in anyway, regardless
Oh, of
of
course.
like it's made out of grass and twigs. And there's somebody who's going to pop in and just say, why do you even need butter? Can't you mash up some sprouted chickpeas and use that instead? It's like, I'm
you
actually
shouldn't be
trying
using butter. Butter is like, you should be on the whole food plant-based diet. You don't need
But
butter.
I'm like, I'm trying to get my goals with cooking recipes are to create recipes that non-vegans will enjoy. That's my
Mhm.
whole everything.
Mhm.
I don't fucking care if there's a tablespoon of olive oil in it. That's not.
Mhm.
But like, if you come after me because there's some maple syrup or this or that in there, I promised nothing to the maple trees of the world or to the olive trees. I made no guarantees that I would not, but like people conflate it and it's just really freaking annoying,
But if they come after you for for using maple syrup, and then you ask them, say, okay, do you use agave? Then sometimes they're kind of like, what? Or do you use honey? Because that's a
I
big
only
thing. Just like you were saying,
use
vegans will still consume honey. I'm like, but you're gonna come after me for, like the tree itself. We have a relationship. We're good. It's grounded. I'm grounded. We help each other. It's from nature, but you are taking away what Pooh Bear needs. And this is not for you. All right. So
Okay.
what in the hell? And it's made by an animal. I'm just the what is it? The disconnect. The disassociation.
yeah.
I can't.
I eat honey.
How dare you? We
I
cannot be
know.
friends anymore. You and I, we're done. We're through.
I eat organic honey that is 2 miles from my house. I have very bad allergies, and I take an allergy pill every day. Luckily it's just one, but that I don't eat honey a lot, but I have it in the house, especially when my allergies are off the charts. And I may take a teaspoon of honey a day.
Mhm.
It's better than taking a teaspoon. It's worse than taking a teaspoon of honey a day. Taking allergy meds
Right.
more than I have to take them every day.
Right.
So being that I'm going to do what's best for me and my body based on the fact that I've grown into a body that is allergic to every single thing outside
It does seem like
that I didn't have when I was younger.
Yeah. I mean,
There's that balance. Oh, Ellen.
I mean,
Ellen!
Hi.
You know what's funny about the honey thing?
What's funny about honey?
A lot of vegans eat honey, and when we talk about it,
Right.
it goes like this.
People start
Do you
coming
eat
out of the
honey?
closet.
And we start whispering because it's like, do you eat honey? I eat honey. Do you eat it? Yeah, we eat honey. And we'll be like alone in a room, but we whisper it. And it's very funny. So, like I said, I would never buy a honey bear honey from the store. They smoke the bees. It's absolutely horrible for them. I know the beekeeper. I know what they're doing. I know they're taking care of them. I obviously don't allow it at the festivals. It's not something that goes that far. It's my personal in my house.
Mhm.
When I'm sick, it's a big deal for me. Because agave and maple syrup don't do the same as honey in that tea that I never drink unless I'm sick. So that's I am not alone. I am one of many who feel this way, not necessarily on this panel.
Well,
Mouse, I see the finger, you go.
no, well, see, but there's a difference. Honey in itself does help a lot. It contains a lot that helps in terms of with illness and with sickness. It's definitely it's one of the most holistic things that's recommended. If you have anything, what ginger, honey, and lemon is one of the go-tos that they say because it does draw that out. And it's one thing when you're getting it from a local source where you know that the bees are not harmed. And for that purpose too, you know, it helps. It helps for someone to heal. Everybody's body is different. That's the other thing. Nobody's different body is the same. That applies to veganism because there are certain things that the body can adjust to. You don't know what, in terms of the chemical the makeup of the body. Certain things could cause allergic reactions. It's all about what works for your body. I really don't have a big deal or attack on many that are consuming honey for the purpose that you're consuming it for, and that they're getting it from a local keep. You know that the bees are not being harmed. That's the thing. And you're doing it for whatever you need for medicinal purposes. I don't have any problem with that. I have problems with people who are very hypocritical and they want to go on the attack. I'm not going to attack you. I'm not going to attack other people who are using honey. The source is very, very, very crucial. Yes.
Yeah, sure.
But I'm not going to be like, well, because agave and maple syrup don't work.
Right.
There's proponents that are not within it. So, yeah, I mean, it's when you have ones they come off with the holier than thou, or when you catch them in their own, and flip the script on them, then they just get stunned and then they come back with something irrelevant and just want to attack. So.
Oh yeah, it's just. I mean, I
Yeah.
guess it's a maybe slightly similar analogy would be someone who keeps their leather shoes or that leather jacket that they've had pre-vegan and it's still wearable, it's still usable, and just because you're wearing it and using it doesn't mean that you're any less vegan. It's just that you didn't want to throw it into a landfill.
Right.
I mean, you could give it away, but not everyone has the funds to hand something away that keeps you warm or like makes it so you can walk, with shoes on in the snow going uphill, 10 miles to school or whatever it is,
Right.
that, and I don't see anything wrong with that either. There's just, I mean, does it take me down a level of my veganism? I don't believe so. I believe I do.
I think that's
a lot of things.
That's part of the
Okay,
whole
Mom.
conversation is figuring out what your parameters are, what your values are around things. It sounds like, Helene, it sounds like you've really given thought to harm reduction with this. And that's, you're not just randomly grabbing honey because you feel like it and just buying any brand available, and I do think that ultimately we're going to have to figure out ways that we can coexist with other animals and mutually benefit each other without exploitation, and I think for example, say you have sheep that are kept in sanctuary and they've been bred to mass produce this wool. So that's not your doing, that you didn't breed them, but to help their comfort you have to
They
shear
have to
them
get sheared. Yep.
in sensitive and compassionate ways. But couldn't you then ethically use that to stuff pillows or something like that? I'm just saying, I don't necessarily want it myself because I don't like the feeling of wool myself, but I'm saying I don't see massive harm in that sort of thing either. There have to be ways we've got to figure out to coexist in mutually beneficial ways that are not exploitative, and that's easy to say here, but
Yeah, can I go down that slope of that analogy and say, what about backyard chickens and eating their eggs?
right. I don't think that
I mean, I don't believe feed the eggs back to the chickens. It's actually healthier for them. to
Mhm.
get their eggs back, scramble
Right.
them up, give them to the chickens. They'll
Right.
lick the shells, they'll do the whole thing. They need it, especially the
They're
ones
so
that were from
depleted,
factory
right.
farms. They need it because they're depleted because so they were bred.
Mhm.
But I can see a piece of what you're saying and have someone say, but they're my chickens. They're being taken care of. So why can't I eat their eggs?
Mhm.
You
I guess
know?
I don't see it as food, and with the, shearing, you're actually helping the you know what I
Right.
mean?
And the
So
chickens are laying the eggs.
I know, but the chickens need the nutrients more than we do, you know?
I agree, but I don't feel like a lot of people have chickens that are not vegan or they're not obviously giving the eggs back to the chickens. They're taking them and selling
Right,
them or eating them, consuming them themselves.
right.
Vegans do it too.
Mhm. Mm.
Or it's not just people who are not vegan who have backyard chickens. People who are vegan are eating the eggs because they're their chickens.
Mm.
So it'd be an interesting
I
thing, you
love
know. So is that vegan? Is that not vegan? I mean, I feel like the
that.
line is drawn there. That's eating the, but then I eat honey. So am I a hypocrite? Maybe. I don't know. Ellen, you got something to say? Thanks for joining us. You got to tell us all
Oh,
about your day.
yeah, that's just, thank you for
Forget the
asking.
topic. Ellen's been on camera all day.
2 days, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah. But, I'll just weigh in before we change the subject, if we want to change the subject. I don't know. Um, I know, Marla, you've been to Vegan Summer Festival, and you have too, right?
Mm-mm.
No. So, this used to be summer camp for vegans, and a lot of the national speakers who were on the Veg Fest circuit would speak there. And I went there 4 years before COVID as a speaker. And one of the sessions I went to was, and it was widely attended, defining the word vegan. And it was just like a couple hours of brainstorming what it was. And I walked away from that thinking, yeah, no animal exploitation for human purposes. So I've never, when I was little, my mom gave me honey and lemon. I used to have chronic bronchitis, probably asthma. And I don't know if it was any better than the cough medicine or the hot water steamer that was on in the room. I mean, I was always sick before I went vegan and gave up dairy. So, I guess I really haven't had a discussion with anybody until this moment. In just my head, I have never had, since I made the decision to go vegan, honey around. And I have a friend whose boyfriend gets honey. They work on a what do you call it, beehive farm together. And she was trying to tell me how wonderful it was. And I don't know. I mean, I don't, it just, I know that growing up in St. Louis, being a reporter in St. Louis, home of Monsanto, that makes Roundup, and that is widely credited with bee colony
Collapse.
death
Yeah.
and all the problems with that. So do we need to add to their stress level? I don't know how that plays out. And it's just like, I don't need honey. I am fortunately very healthy now. And if, I had 2 days of COVID, and that's the only time I've been sick in like the last, I don't even know, 10, 20 years. So, the herbal teas were just fine.
Right.
But I really, in my old age, and I'm going to be 70 on Saturday, I just am kind of in a no judgment zone because we have
Right.
so many things that we need to
Bigger.
be dealing with.
Way,
And
way
it's just like,
bigger.
what are you
Yeah.
going to get stressed out about?
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. I'm with you. And I kind of feel like I never, it's a non-issue for me in the sense that I never really liked the taste of honey. And I didn't, it wasn't something that was hard for me to give up, but I feel like us planting, beneficial flowers, as much as we can, I feel like that's contributing. And I don't know. I mean, I think when you're talking about someone who's doing so much to educate and to build a more compassionate world, that I'm going to really freak out about you eating a teaspoon of honey every so often is just not up there on the priority list, you know.
Well, thank you. I mean, you could have attacked me. I would have been fine with it. Like I said, I know why I do what I do, and
I got
I
no
mean,
F's
like,
either.
right. I'm taking medicine right now for this pinched nerve or disc issue on my neck. If I didn't take this medicine, you would see me actually flinching and squirming in pain standing in front of you.
Right,
That's not being vegan.
right.
Putting the martyr thing up and going, I'm not taking the medicine. I need to function. I need to fly on a plane tomorrow. I need to do a festival on Sunday.
Right.
I'm not driving because I think I could drive
Right.
because of the pain. So now she's got something to say. I love that finger.
That you stated right there, that you are taking medication for something that is damaging. It stops you from being able to function. If people are attacking you and saying, well, that doesn't make you vegan, then I will say what I've told somebody. Then I'm not vegan for the times I have to take it each day. If I don't take my anticonvulsant, some of you are aware of what happened. I wouldn't be here. I would not be here. If this is going to reduce points from my vegan card for taking my medication that I must take on a daily basis to prevent being back in the hospital, I don't need to go every day experiencing 3 to 4 to 6 grand mal seizures.
Exactly.
This cuts it. So go ahead. If it makes you happy, I will go ahead and you can take a picture, deuces, whatever, fine. But it's something that helps me, so
you deserve quality of life. You deserve
thank you.
I mean,
And
we can be in this position where we have to defend a quality of life,
Yeah, it gets ridiculous. And I think that if the person is not in your shoes, they're not going to understand. And you really don't want the person to be in your shoes, especially what you're dealing with. So yeah, I know what a nerve is like. I have sciatica after giving birth to my youngest. Give me the pain medication. Give it to me now.
Right. Well, Marla knows about this more than probably any of us because no one's attacking me about my decisions, but Marla knows about this because, John wouldn't be alive.
Right. Absolutely. And it's like, to me, I have so many thoughts on this, and I'll just try to keep it really succinct as much as possible. But I think it gets into the realm of eugenics thoughts. When you start saying that people who are depressed to the point where they're suicidal, that people who need medications in order to live, people who it simply improves their quality of life. It may not be a need, but it is important for their well-being. When you're sitting on the sidelines and making judgments and pronouncements about, how superior you are because you haven't been to a doctor in 40 years. I know one of those guys who keeps talking about that. Like, I rarely get sick. That's just that's just my, I think the Jews, like, as opposed to Ellen, I think we were kind of made to withstand, or at least my side of the family. But my point is, I rarely get sick, but I understand that sickness happens, disease happens, mental illness happens, and the idea that, to me, when you start saying that people shouldn't be taking stuff to help them, it gets into the realm of Nazism and eugenicist thoughts. It's so ugly and disappointing and grotesque. But the other thing I was going to say about, I don't even remember what it was, but just the point is that, this is what I was saying back at the time, that, John could have chosen to You know, he's diagnosed with a very serious, very severe case of leukemia suddenly. He could have flown off to some retreat fucking thing in Florida and did nothing but drink
herbs and like essential oils
right,
and
exactly, while people are like chanting around.
chanting.
Yeah, exactly. Or he could have done what someone who's very educated in oncology recommended. It was up to him. I would have supported him either way. He chose the allopathic route, but also, you know, combined it with other health promoting things that are not allopathic. The point is, if we went the route, and he's still here, he's still happy and healthy. He could have still been here and happy and healthy if he went the you know, healthcare, you know, the juicing route or whatever. But the point is that if he died and left a really nice obituary, very, very, you know, noble obituary about how he never took any medication because it was against his morals. What is the benefit of that? What is the good in that? Like, the fact is that he's out here promoting veganism. He's alive and he's healthy and he's vibrant. So he could have left a superior obituary.
He could have been a martyr.
Yeah. So, I mean, F you to everyone who stands on the sidelines and takes pot shots, because you obviously don't understand. And even if you haven't been through it personally, as to what Naus was talking about before with uteruses and pregnancy, the point is that you shouldn't have to experience something to have basic compassion and understanding. And this is the problem with empathy. Empathy dictates that we feel more compassion for those who are more like us, who have similar experiences to us, who look like more like us, who grew up more like we did, who are a similar race. So we have to go beyond empathy to true compassion, you know, because it's very easy to sit on the sidelines and take hot shots and do judgments. It's not so easy to live a nuanced, complex life, you know.
Which involves a lot of decisions, a lot of things you've got to do, a lot of things you have to, I mean, life isn't very clean cut, and it's certainly not black and white. Now, there's words there.
Before I forget, unhoney. Try it.
Unhoney. Yes, unhoney.
Yes.
Actually, they're one of our vendors in Georgia.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's still not exactly the same. I mean, it doesn't necessarily have all the it doesn't have the pollination piece for the allergies. And I'm not sitting here like I don't put honey in everything. It takes a long time. Like when I'm sick, we go through it more.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, that's, I don't know. I'm vegan. How sick do I get? But I mean, we did get COVID. So
you know, on honey is it's not. I mean, like, it's great because of you know, the benefits of coconut oil, but you know, it doesn't have components that actual, you know, honey does have due to pollination. But it's for those people that may be looking for that substitute. It's really, really great. And I for baking purposes, like it's fantastic. So like, yeah, I don't know why that just popped into my head. I know we were talking about it. I was like, honey. Oh wait, coconuts. Nectar. Okay, carry on.
Well, this was fun. I don't want us to go over an hour. We should have started that before we started. And
she's
you know,
slaughter herself in honey.
Exactly. It's going to go downstairs. It's going to spew it all over me. And Steven's going to lick it off. And anybody have anything else to say?
The bees are going to be fanning you with that.
Are you kidding? The bees, like, I had sap in my car because one of the trees that was next to my car, it went down with the wind, but the tree had so much sap that it would go onto my car and there'd be sap all over the hood of my car. And you know what bees are attracted to? Sap on your car. So I'd come out to my car and there'd be bees like all over it. And I'd be like, oh, okay. I was like, you do you. I'm just going to get in my car now. Don't follow. I'm driving. But there'd just be bees just eating the sap. And I was like, that's okay. But I'll tell you this. I'll go even further. Big people maybe hate me. We had yellow jackets.
Okay, here we go.
We had yellow jacket nests in our yard this year. You know, they go from spring to fall. They don't come back to the same nest. I've done a whole research in yellow jackets because there was one in my attic, also stinging they were coming through the vents and stinging my housemate. This isn't okay, right? I mean, they're just levels of like it's right. It's just not okay. So the bees outside, I normally don't have any issues if they were right when you walk out my front door and stepped onto the sidewalk to leave. They were like right there. And they were coming out of their nest and they stung Franny, which is my little dog, my little 16-pound dog. It took over a month for Franny to recover from being, I don't know how many times she was stung, but I got the yellow jacket and she was rubbing her cheek. And I like went to be like, what's going on? And there was the yellow jacket in my hand. And I was like, I said, so that yellow jacket nest was exterminated. And we started this with like Save the Bees. However, those yellow jackets could kill my dog and us. And that's where my line is. Go into a part of my yard that we don't go to and we'll be fine.
Yeah, just leave us alone and we'll leave you alone.
Leave us alone. And then Stephen was mowing the lawn and found a second one and got stung 12 times.
Oh, ow. Oh, shit.
I was up here and I heard the scream. And it's funny now, but I mean, the scream that I heard from outside, I went running down the stairs and I was like, what's going on? He's like, ah. So baking soda and water, Benadryl, ice, vinegar, I think a vinegar mixture, apple cider vinegar, all went on his body over the next like 3 days. Because he was inflamed. So that nest went away too. And I hated it. But at the same time, pick a different part of my yard. I was like,
can you guys just be chill? Like yellow jackets are assholes.
They are.
Yeah.
Yeah, the mud wasps are fine. The mud wasps, I'm like, you can build your nest anywhere. The carpenter bees, I don't care. Carpenter bees live freely. Around the house. I get that they can destroy the wood and stuff. Nope, they're fine because they just, they're fine. They don't have any issues. Yeah.
So I know we're getting ready to go, but I do want to give a little shout out to the idea of this is going to really paint me into the corner of the woo category, but talking to an animal communicator and asking them to speak to the bees. I've actually had a lot of success with that kind of thing in the past. We had mice in our previous house that somebody came in and just gave them a little firm talking to, and honest to goodness, they left. So I don't know. It is. I mean, if you're going to try all kinds of things, it is a possibility.
I'm going to leave this show on that note because an absolutely amazing animal communicator is Afton Hughes, who used to be the director of the Pig Preserve, which is no longer the Pig Preserve. So Afton is one. So if you want to get in touch with her, please do. She has spoken to one of my dogs. And she talked to like this cat that was in Chattanooga that if I didn't have a home, I was taking him home because he was the best cat on the planet. And we went back a year later to Chattanooga and the cats were there, which was great. So nice to see them. So that's really cool. Yeah. Those cats were like not staying in Chattanooga if I thought they were homeless. So thankfully they're not.
Definitely something to try. I was going to say Kathy Landry, Kathy Landry. She was very enormously helpful with me after our dog died. She just knew all kinds of stuff that, so
that's amazing.
Yeah. So
that and of course like Gentle Barn, Ellie Kelly
right.
as well from Gentle Barn. Well, look at that. We just plugged 3 different people.
We did it.
I believe they're all vegan, right? Yeah, so we can do a show on that and bring Afton in. Afton would love that, and maybe Afton could just talk to all our animals on the show. How fun would that be?
Oh, I'd love
I'm
that.
actually asked Afton and Callie if they want to be part of the show. We should totally just do that show. All right, so next week, being that's the day before Thanksgiving, which is best holiday ever, we should just talk about Thanksgiving food.
What we're gonna eat or not.
For the
eat.
next, right, exactly. I'll have actually picked up, I'll have eaten a early Thanksgiving on Tuesday. We're going to pick up food on Wednesday. So I have a ton of food to talk about for next week, let alone the food we're going to do on Thursday. So
I just want to see also, there's a lot of people who don't participate, so that could be part of the conversation as well. Yeah. No.
Oh, there's now. It's about the food. It's not about the holiday.
Right, but that could be part of the conversation. Yeah. So.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't. We can do food, but I don't celebrate it. I remember the indigenous, and then I just think about let's coming together. There's just I've taken on the same mentality as my children now. It's another day for food. Somebody's cooking a lot of stuff, and I'm going to stuff my face. That's how I look at it. But yeah.
Awesome.
Well, it's Thanksgiving, so we'll just rebrand it to saving the animals. And that's what next week will be, and it's really good food. So I'm going to put us all back into the green room and let's close out the show. Thank you, Marla. Thank you, Naus. Thank you, Kelly. Thank you, Ellen. Good to see you. All right, thank you so much for joining the Vegan Stew this week. We just heard what our show is going to be next week at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. It's going to be about Thanksgiving, the food, and why some of you don't celebrate it, because Naus will share their feelings on that as well. Be kind, be good to one another. Good to see you. Appreciate your support. Follow us on YouTube, subscribe, get the notification. It's great to help us grow Virtual Veg Fest and the Vegan Stew on there. And make sure you go to virtualvegfestlive.com, enter a contest to win one of those 9 prize packs. In December, we're going to give away prizes weekly. It's a holiday month. We're going to do we'll have 10 prizes, and one of them is going to go every week, and we're just going to give stuff away all month of December. And that'll close out our 2022. Well, have a great rest of your night and great rest of your week. If you're near Knoxville, Tennessee on Sunday, World's Fair Park Performance Lawn, that's where we'll be, 10 to 4, doing Knoxville or Scruffy City Vegan Fest. See you soon. Bye.